Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Ready for the event.
City Cast Nashville, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Whitney Pastorek with City Cast Nashville. How do you hear me?
I have you loud and clear. Was that Whitney? Is that right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Oh, doing fantastic. You can't have a bad day when you're up, 260.
And you're back. What is that floating next to you? Are those carabiners?
Yeah, it's just carabiners. It's just something to show. They kind of look neat as they float around and kind of spin around each other. So I just thought I'd throw them out here.
That's awesome. All right. Well, so first question, where are y'all right now? What can you see out the windows?
That is a good question. Usually I have time to peek out real quick and check, but right now I'm not sure. We're somewhere between 51.6 north latitude and 51.6 south latitude, because that's the way our orbit is, our inclination around the planet.
We will look that up for our listeners. All right, Butch, you're originally from the Nashville area, and I'm wondering what it was about growing up in Middle Tennessee that made you want to get as far away as humanly possible.
Oh, that's contrary. There's no place like home. I mean, God's country, living there, growing up there was wonderful. So no, that wasn't the intent. It was just that, that innate desire deep within you to explore and what's out there, why, how do things work, and just that inquisitive nature that kind of drove me to try to figure those things out, and eventually it led here to the International Space Station.
You attended Una Elementary on Murfreesboro Pike here in Nashville from 1st to 3rd grade, and we asked the current students there to send along a couple questions for you to answer. So both the 3rd and 5th graders want to know when and why you decided to be an astronaut and what you had to study in college to get there.
Oh, those are really good questions. So, I don't know there's a when necessarily. I think a lot of kids growing up in my time frame kind of looked to the heavens and things that were taking place with NASA and the Apollo program and those time frames and kind of inquisitive, like I said, and desire to go and see and be a part of that and do that. So I don't think I was much different than any other kid in that respect. So along the lines, just really focusing on where the Lord gave me a couple of insights and desires, if you will, and inquisitive, like I said, in mathematics and science, and then that kind of went down a path to engineering and eventually led into the Navy after I had completed an engineering degree. And then, of course, like I said, eventually led here to NASA.
The 3rd graders also want to know, what does space feel like?
Space feels a lot like Superman, if I put it in that perspective, because you can actually literally fly. And there's no other place that you can do that other than space. It is thrilling.
And for our listeners at home on our podcast, he just did a backflip for us. All right, the 1st graders cut right to the most important question, which is, how did you get stuck up there?
I think there are many definitions of stuck. I guess there are maybe a couple of those definitions that might apply to our situation, but Sonny and I, neither one of us think of it in that light. We don't feel like we're stuck. We're just continuing on with the mission of NASA. It just so happens that we took a detour, and now we're on this other pathway, still doing the things that is important to mankind and to NASA and the goals of our nation. So it's just a different path. So yeah, I guess you could say there's in certain definitions we got stuck, but in many other, the majority of them, we're just on a different path.
Absolutely. How are you maintaining a positive outlook throughout some of the challenges and the hard work that you're having to do up there? What do you miss the most about being back down here, if anything? And are you getting overtime for this?
That's a good question. We might ask that question to our bosses about overtime. Let's see here. a mindset. You know, a mindset does go a long way. You know, I've got a biblical worldview. I look at things through the eyes of Scripture, and there's things in Scripture that took place with all the people in the different stories of the Bible that didn't necessarily things go the way they wanted. And I take strength and comfort in that the good Lord's in control, and that this is the path that He has me on at this moment, and therefore I am content. You know, be content in all things, regardless of what takes place. So I don't look at these situations in life as being downers. That's what I try to teach my daughters, to live their life with a focus on glorifying their Lord in all that they do. And that's my intent and my goal as well. And right now we're just, like I said, on an unplanned path, and that's okay. We trek down that path and maintain and do the best that we possibly can with the gifts the good Lord's given us. So that's the focus.
It's interesting to hear you talk about your faith, and we were wondering, how does looking down from where you are and seeing the Earth from a completely different perspective impact your faith, if at all?
You know, I didn't need to come to space to learn anything about my Lord and my Savior. The Word, the Bible, is sufficient. But it does give you a unique perspective that I obviously didn't have before I came here, to look out and see the glory of it all, and to, you know, in an hour and a half completely encircle the planet and see the variety, the colors, the brilliance, the amazing life that you can see below, and how it varies from place to place within minutes. 10 minutes, you know, we can be over New York City, and 10 minutes later we're over Paris. And to be able to see the difference in the terrain and the topography is, just like I said, it's just absolutely thrilling.
Well, let's bring it back home. We are going to be sharing this podcast with our colleagues at City Cast Houston, your other hometown. I was actually born and raised there, and so I know quite a bit about what NASA and the Johnson Space Center means to that city. What are your thoughts on the private space race and how that could impact NASA's future? Do you think we could see a shift to a fully privatized scenario where NASA is contracting? And how would a shift like that impact the Houston and Clear Lake regions where Mission Control are located?
I think all those things you just mentioned are all positives, every single one of them, from workforce to jobs to the exploration mindset to go forward and learn and grow and for the benefit of our planet, within the NASA and the government sector, and also the private sector. I think we're seeing huge gains and a huge forward progress in each of those. And will it change NASA? Sure, and that's okay. As we continue to evolve and go through those growing processes. I mean, NASA's changed a great deal in the last 60 years that it's been in existence, and that change will continue. But right now, it all looks wonderful, it all looks positive, and it's on an upward trajectory.
And do you believe that Houston will continue to be a leader in the space industry, whether private or NASA?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. All the private companies are all ensconced there in Houston as well, in the Clear Lake area, and I'm sure that they'll continue to be. So, yeah, I see a bright future there as well.
Awesome. And obviously, I do want to ask, the spacecraft that brought you up to the International Space Station was manufactured by Boeing. Do you have any suggestions for them for next time?
Sure, we got a lot of suggestions, and we'll share all of those. And they've made some great strides and wonderful positive impacts on the human space flight, and they'll continue to do so. And suggestions. I mean, that's back and forth. It's always that way, regardless of. It's the same way with SpaceX and other providers, others that are coming online. So sure, you bet.
I get the sense though that you're not too upset about having a longer stay up on that space station.
No, there's no reason to be upset about anything. Content, like I said before, is kind of the buzzword, if you will. There's no reason not to be content. Certainly there's things that could have been better, could have been done different. We know that. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to be better off in the long run. So that's the mindset.
All right, let's move to some important issues down here on Earth. We know that you're a big SEC football guy. You played for Tennessee Tech in undergrad. Were you able to get the SEC network up there on the space station this time?
You know, I would have flown in space without the SEC network, but it certainly is nice to have when you're here. Yes, I do have it, and I do watch the ball games. I watch Tech games as well. I can't get them live yet. I'm trying, but Tennessee Tech, I've watched some of those games on recording, and of course Vandy is what a year they're having. I mean, just amazing to see the Vanderbilt Commodores be in the position they're in, playing Texas this week. I think it is there in Nashville. I wish I could be there, but we'll be watching from afar for sure.
Could you see the Vanderbilt goalpost make its way to the river from space?
Couldn't quite see it from space, but I did see the video. It's pretty impressive.
All right. More importantly, let's talk about the rivalry between your two hometowns, both Nashville area, Mount Juliet, and Houston, Texas. Tennessee Titans or Houston Texans? I'm going to make you choose.
I'm sorry, that's easy. Tennessee Titans.
You're going to be welcomed like a king back here in Nashville, but I don't know that you're going to be able to set foot back in Houston. What are some of your favorite places to visit when you come back to the Nashville area to see family? I know you've still got folks who live around here, so where do y'all love to go?
As I think back to the places that we do go when it's there, I mean, you can't have a much better evening than going down Broadway. I think the name of the restaurant that we've eaten at a couple of times is Blanco Cocina. They're across the street from the Bridgestone Arena. Have a meal there, get a big old burrito and some refried beans and some rice, and walk across the street and watch Predators game. I don't know that gets much better than that.
Absolutely. And then what's the first iconic Houston meal that you're going to eat when you get back home?
Oh, my wife's going to kill me for saying this. I love her cooking, but as I'm watching the SEC network, and I'm not trying to put plugs in for these different organizations, but that pimento cheese, honey, chicken, jalapeno sandwich that they're putting on TV for on the commercials, that looks pretty tasty.
What would pimento cheese do?
Hey, we got a visitor real quick.
Oh.
You might recognize Sonny Williams. Say hi to Nashville and Houston.
Hi. Hello, Nashville. Hello, Houston. Butch loves peanut butter.
Hello, Sonny. Thanks for joining us. I was about to ask, speaking of pimento cheese, what would that do in microgravity?
It would do good. It'd be very tasty. And it's the combination of those. I don't know why. Your taste may change a little bit up here. And so, I don't know. It just looks very tempting with all those different flavors in that one sandwich.
I'm just picturing little chunks of pimento cheese floating through the air like those carabiners next to you. All right.
Yeah, that's easy, though. You just, go fly over and just suck them out of the air.
Let's do another face-off. Houston Tex-Mex or Nashville hot chicken?
That's tough, but I might say Nashville.
Nashville hot chicken, all the way.
I'm sensing a theme here, and I'm pretty sure what your answer to this question is going to be. We're going to put you on the spot. Nashville versus Houston. In general, which one is better? I am uniquely qualified to judge if your answer is correct.
Okay, let me think this one out here. There's a time in my marriage where I always referred to home as going back to mom and dad's. And my wife finally said one day, home is where you live. So with that in mind right now, there's no place like home.
Yeah, that's great.
That was very diplomatic.
And I'll let you decide which home I'm talking about.
I think you've got a future in international diplomacy if this space thing doesn't work out for you, sir. Your training as a Navy pilot, as you mentioned, was obviously a huge part of your successful career as an astronaut. And we're actually going to run this episode on Veterans Day. So I'm curious about what your advice is to those UNA elementary kids or any others who might be listening and wanting to know how to follow in your footsteps.
I tell you that Sonny, also naval aviator, both of us. There is no better place to serve your nation than in the nation's military, whether you go Navy, Army, Air Force, or Marine, or Air Force, or Space Force, excuse me, or Coast Guard. I think it's a great thing for anyone to serve for however long you decide to do it. I served 30 years. Sonny served 30 years before we retired, and that's just my mandatory retirement age. I probably wouldn't have retired. So I don't think there's any better way to live your life serving your nation, however long that is, and then go on from there if you so choose to do so. I think that's a great kind of a mindset to send down and encourage the kids with.
Absolutely. And Sonny, since you're here, where are you originally from? Forgive me for not knowing.
She's not from God's country.
Another version of it, I think. I was born in Ohio, but I grew up in Massachusetts, so a little bit north of the Mason-Dixon line, a very pretty place too, but I love driving through Tennessee on the way up to visit Mom.
Nice save. Good save, Sonny. Thank you so much. All right. Are there any messages that we can send home, Butch, to your family, your friends, both here in Nashville and in Houston, where they might disown you upon return?
Well, we hit on a couple of sports topics. So let's say go Vols. Got my orange on today. Go Vandy. Go Predators. Go Titans, and go Texans.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to hear. Thank you so much. Y'all, this was wonderful. I'm going to ask one more question. You know, we've had a lot of questions from the UNA elementary kids in this interview, and I want to get one last one in on behalf of my City Cast colleagues who are adults and not small children. They read a story about farts being potentially flammable on spacewalks. Can you confirm or deny?
We certainly can confirm or deny, yes.
All right. On that
hey,
note,
I'll let you in on a little secret. I'll let you in on a little secret. I'll let you in on a little secret. You know, there's different processes. I mean, you notice I've got a little bit of a puffy face, more so than normal, because of the fluid shift. Sonny doesn't have it. She's got a good vein that drains her face, and my vein's not as big as hers, I guess. There's differences in the physiology of your body that takes place, and we still don't understand it. But boy, I tell you what, the body can produce a great deal of gas, more so than normal. It doesn't matter who you are. It's across the board. So anyway, you've got the secret. The secret's out now.
I'm glad we could break that news. Well, listen, we can't thank y'all enough for your time. We can't thank you enough for your service and everything you're doing up there to help push technology and our understanding of space forward. And we're just sending you a lot of love from Tennessee and from Texas. So y'all stay safe and come home soon.
All right. Thanks, y'all. We enjoyed being with you from the ISS.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Whitney. Y'all have a great day. Great Tennessee day.
You too.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we're now resuming operational comm.